Welcome back to The Lead. I'm Jake Tapper. In politics, it was a simple question asked by 4 different reporters, and it still did not get a direct answer from the president. Will he launch strikes against Syria, even if Congress votes against the authorization to do so? Our Brianna Keeler set off the echo chamber. Take a listen.
If the full Congress doesn't pass this, will you go ahead with the strike?
You know, Brianna, I think it'd be a mistake for me to jump the gun and speculate.
I want to follow up on Brianna's question because it seems these members of Congress are simply responding to their constituents.
Yeah. I do consider it part of my job to help make the case and to explain to the American people exactly why I think this is the right thing to do.
And I still haven't heard a direct response to Brianna's question.
Right, and you're not getting a direct response. Brianna asked the question very well.
But your Deputy National Security Advisor said that it is not your intention to attack if Congress doesn't approve it. Is he right?
I don't think that's exactly what he said, but I think I've answered the question.
Let's bring in our panel. Contributing editor for the Daily Beast, David Frum, CNN chief political analyst Gloria Borger, and former national security spokesman for the Obama administration, Tommy Vitor. Tommy, so why can't the president just give us a yes or no? Tony Blinken, the president's deputy national security advisor, seemed to suggest on NPR this morning, no, that the president wants Congress on board, and if he doesn't get them on board, he suggested that it's probably something would not happen.
Yeah, I think Tony's comment was, legally speaking, if the president has the authority, we're going to wait and see what the vote is. And I think the president can't answer that question.
There's a little bit more to it than that. But
I know what Tony meant.
This is what he said. Let me actually just read it. It's neither his desire nor intention to use that authority absent Congress backing him. That's the actual quote, which says to me he doesn't want to act if Congress isn't behind it.
What I think it really means is let's let these guys vote. And so I don't think the president can answer this question and tell Congress, hey, I actually don't really care what you think. Here's what I'm going to do anyway. So it's a fair question. It's a reasonable one. I think it's also reasonable not to answer that directly.
Okay, but what does the president have to do? He's giving an address on Tuesday. Obviously, he's got a lot of minds to change on Capitol Hill and throughout the country. What does he have to say?
Well, first, look at the incentive structure he has just created for Congress. Supposing you are an unheroic member of Congress, and so many of them
I can't imagine any, right, exactly, an unheroic member of Congress.
But who also would like to see people not be gassed in Syria.
Right.
What the president has just said is you can vote no and avoid the political risk, and I might still do the thing that you wouldn't disapprove of anyway. So the prudent coat, he's just today in that presser, he made the rational, prudent vote for every member of Congress with any doubt in his constituency, or her constituency, which is to say all the members. He has made the prudent vote a no. And so on Tuesday, he has to find some way to alter those perverse incentives he just created today.
I think what the president has to do is make his case in a less ambivalent, more convincing way. What we heard at this press conference today was a very thoughtful president wandering through all of his sort of internal thoughts about why he would understand why the public might not think this wasn't in their imminent national security interest versus why it really was in our general national security interest. And of course, I understand why you are against war. I'm against war. I didn't get elected to go to war. And I think what he has to do when he talks to the American public is say, this is what I want to do. This is why I want to do it. And this is why it's the moral imperative for this country to get this done. No ambivalence.
And Tommy, the president has firmed up his rhetoric and his thought process as he's come to make this decision. But we've seen the evolution over the past couple of weeks. On the day that Secretary Kerry was giving that very forceful speech, President Obama was talking about everybody wants something to happen, but nobody wants to be the one to make it happen. He sounded ambivalent. It was before he'd made his decision.
I think one of the reasons people like this president is he talks to them like they're adults, and he will make clear that there's two sides to every story and these are complicated issues. I don't think he sounded morally ambivalent when he talked about 400 kids in bed getting indiscriminately gassed.
No, I didn't say moral.
I don't think he sounded ambivalent when he was talking about trying to prevent the Chemical Weapons Convention and keeping WMD out of the hands of dictators from unraveling. And so, I think he has made a forceful case for this. It has gotten stronger over time as the intel is strengthened up and they've been able to give members classified briefings. That'll continue. Dennis McDonough, the chief of staff, will be on 5 Sunday shows this weekend. The president will speak Tuesday. So there's time and space to continue messaging this.
I just want to make it clear. I don't believe he was morally ambivalent.
I'm sorry.
I believe he was politically ambivalent.
The problem is not the forceful case. When you said he has to make a forceful case for this, the problem is not the forceful case. The problem is this. And I think what is gelling opposition opinion in Congress is a sense, look, even on its own terms, this is a plan that's not going to work. The plan is to do a certain amount of strikes remotely using automatic systems from the air, and then hope like heck the Syrians don't embarrass the president immediately afterwards, forcing an escalation that the president and the Secretary of State have said they don't want. So because the plan is so dubious on its face, it's very hard to rally people to support something that even its supporters have to question.
But that's another thing he has to do, which is to explain what the plan is and why it will work and why it will deter Assad and why it will degrade his capacity to use chemical
Tommy,
weapons.
very quickly, want to give you the last word.
I think he will literally degrade his capacity by destroying command and control assets, helicopters, some fixed-wing assets, some military infrastructure. So that will literally degrade that capability. I also think you will send a message to Assad that if you do this again, you know,
much more will happen. All right, Gloria Borger, David Frum, and Tommy Vitor, thank you.